If you think things are bad now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Rachel Reeves, being the most famous liar since Pinocchio, with a makeup just as wooden and with an economic fantasy worthy of Walt Disney, might be the least of her crimes. The first week of the new financial year this spring is going to be one of the toughest moments for the British people since the global financial crash of 2008. Strap yourselves in for Armageddon April. Since the Chancellor's first budget in October of last year, growth has nosedived, inflation has returned with a vengeance, investment and recruitment have been paused, layoffs planned, firms are folding, and business and consumer confidence is now at the lowest level since 2020, and that big global illness thing. But here's a chunk of information that will definitely give you fever symptoms. The worst aspects of the October budget don't even start until April the 1st. At which point, Rachel from Accounts, the queen of LinkedIn, subjects us to a week from hell. Now, that week starts with a vicious assault on first-time buyers and a rise in stamp duty, the tax payable on a house purchase. And by the end of that hellish week, on the 6th of April, it will all have kicked off in earnest, with a £25 billion tax raid on employers. So the first week of April might be the time to get the credit card out and book a holiday somewhere sunny. Because in the UK, it's going to be a week of bad economic weather. And in my view, a week which seals Rachel Reeves' political fate. She won't go straight away, but will after the inevitable fallout, with the country already flirting with recession, swimming in debt, which now costs more than under Liz Truss, with inflation back, with the old enemy of unemployment returning, with 12,000 millionaires leaving the country in 1 year alone, and with the non-dom cash grab seeing the super rich, who pay huge amounts of tax here, jumping on their private jets and heading off to Italy, the US, Singapore and Dubai, where they'll be made to feel more welcome. After Armageddon April, Rachel Reeves will be held responsible for nuking the economy, at which point Reeves' replacement, another clown from this cabinet of chaos, will try to pick up the pieces. The problem, as we discovered in October, is that socialism doesn't work. So to replace Rachel Reeves with another ideological progressive who instinctively sees wealth creation as a bad thing is like replacing a fox with another fox to protect a chicken coop. A quick reminder that the Bank of England have halved the UK's growth forecast for this year as a result of Rachel's policies. Now, when the moment has been right, Labour chancellors in the past have done good things, including much needed investment in the public sector under Tony Blair, Gordon Brown's love bombing of the City of London, the independence of the Bank of England to set interest rates, and the introduction of the minimum wage. But right now, with the country living beyond its means, with the cost of servicing debt now the third biggest cost to the country behind welfare and the NHS, we actually need a small c Conservative Chancellor and someone who believes in capitalism. For all of his eccentric onstage antics with a chainsaw and untold numbers of illegitimate children, we need someone like Elon Musk running our economy. Why? Well, when he bought Twitter, he got rid of 75% of the staff, and the product remained unchanged, possibly better. He certainly restored free speech. And the press are reporting today that Elon Musk has told hundreds of thousands of US government workers to explain what they accomplished over the last week or be forced to leave their jobs. He tweeted, consistent with President Donald Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they have got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Now that message just fills me with a giddy excitement, and it's a painful reminder of how little of that buccaneering entrepreneurial spirit we have here. And accountability. Elon Musk has unearthed a Pandora's box of waste when it comes to the US aid budget and the wider bloated public sector. And the world's most successful businessman is now helping the new president to give US taxpayers some bang for their buck and fix America's utterly unsustainable, corrupt, dysfunctional and bankrupt government system. Meanwhile, Britain is stuck in a high-spend, high-tax, low-productivity, high-welfare-dependent, quasi-communist nightmare. Apart from the Iraq War and opening our borders to Eastern Europe, Tony Blair wasn't a bad Prime Minister. He kept the high rate of income tax at 40%. He believed in national income, in business and in aspiration. and public spending as a percentage of national income was 30%. Now it's almost 50%, all of which is being poured into the public sector money pit. It is the pits, and that's why we need a small c Conservative Chancellor who believes in capitalism. Public spending should go back down to Blair levels, which would release tens of billions of pounds to pay down the debt, the interest on which alone is 100 billion a year. Also, we could balance the books and increase defence spending in an ever more dangerous world. But we'll get no such thing. Rachel from Accounts' Week of Hell begins on the 1st of April, by which time I sincerely hope that you've escaped to Magaluf or Tenerife, getting trolleyed on sangria and San Miguel, as employers have to find £25 billion to prop up Britain's collapsing business model. Just take a look at one sector in particular, businesses in hospitality and leisure, who will see their bills increase from £3,500 a year to £9,000 a year. Pubs with a rateable value of £100,000 will see business rates jump by a further £19,000 a year. Just think what that will do to your friendly local. How many more pints will they need to sell to dwindling numbers of customers who don't have the money, as they battle Labour's extra taxes, rising food and energy bills, and a new raft of job-wrecking red tape dishonestly characterised as workers' rights? Which is why, unsurprisingly, 9,000 pubs are expected to close this year. That is a tragedy for the country. Think about the impact on communities and on high streets that lose those pubs, venues which are a hub for the community. And don't forget, it's the hospitality sector that employs school leavers and young people who need a job, many of whom will now be sat at home instead, gaming, drinking Red Bull, doom scrolling on TikTok, and resigning themselves to a diminished life. A part-time job in a pub, cafe or restaurant is the perfect springboard into economic activity for a young person, and this egregious Labour government will take that away from them. Don't take my word for it. Sacha Lord, hospitality entrepreneur and a man who proudly attended Labour's manifesto launch before the election, is so angry with what Rachel Reeves has done to his sector and the impact it will have on small businesses and young workers that he's considering leaving the party. Celebrity TV chef Tom Kerridge is the same. He backed Labour last July and is now raging about the devastation that Reeves' tax raid will have on restaurants. Another underreported aspect of Reeves' economic vandalism is lowering the threshold at which employers pay tax on workers' earnings from £9,000 down to just £5,000. That means that companies will have to pay tax on part-time workers' wages for the first time ever. And you know what that means? Well, companies aren't stupid. They will have fewer people working part-time, which is bad news for students, disabled people who can't manage full-time hours, busy single mums or dads, not to mention the upwards of 1 million people last year who enjoyed the wonderful freedom of 0 hours contracts, which, you guessed it, have been abolished by Rachel Reeves and the Sharon Stone tribute act that is Angela Rayner. And the UK boss of popular sandwich chain Five Guys, John Egbert, has said that the Chancellor's national insurance tax onslaught will destroy his company's growth plans. He told the Telegraph newspaper today that his business faces a £4 million hit when Armageddon April kicks in. £4 million. He's probably booked a flight to Tenerife himself. Luckily, he can afford it. Now, he told the paper, think about how many stores that we could build. All this does is restrict our ability to invest and grow. If we had £4 million more, I would absolutely build more stores and hire more people. Every new store, he says, that we open creates 50 to 75 new jobs. It's £1 million in construction expenses and all the jobs that creates. So there's a huge knock-on effect for every investment that we make. We obviously can't grow as fast. All thanks to a Chancellor who's all about growth, apparently. Now, everyone is going to be affected by Armageddon April. Every business, every individual, rich and poor. This Five Guys fast food restaurant story is just the tip of the iceberg lettuce. We've all had our chips. If only Rachel Reeves and this truly horrific government would burger off.